You wanted the best. You've got the best podcast, the hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Hi, folks. Chris Voss here from thechrisvossshow.com. It doesn't get any better than that, folks. Welcome to the big show, my family and friends. We certainly appreciate you guys being here. As always, the Chris Voss Show family is the family that loves you but doesn't judge you. We're like a giant multi-level marketing company, but you don't have to have 5 people in your downline. You can just, you can listen to the show. But we do ask and beg and plead and get on our knees. If you would, please, refer the show to your family, friends, and relatives. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss, YouTube.com/Chris Voss. Do you think I'd learn my name by now? And Chris Voss one on the tickety-tockety. We have always the smartest minds and brilliant people that come by the show and share the stories of their life and what they've learned. And by doing so, they make your lives better. They give you that Chris Voss glow. I believe this is being trademarked right now, the Chris Voss glow. That, or I don't know, there might be some radiation poisoning. We're still looking into it with the FDA. But anyway, guys, billionaires, CEOs, Pulitzer Prize winners, all the brightest people in the world. And as you guys all know, for the callback joke, I flunked second grade, obviously, because I can't even talk. We had an amazing guest on the show with us today. She is Darlene Greene. She's a GHK-Cu and foundational cell activation technology consultant. Boy, that's a title right there. She helps activate your foundation cells, repair DNA, reverse age, and improve the health of the brain and vascular systems, and get out of pain. She's a retired U.S. Navy commander, and she helped establish the Returning Warrior weekend workshop 17 years ago that's still in existence today, and she helps warriors and their families reintegrate as well. So we're going to be talking about her technologies that she's developed, and she helps you take charge of your own health, get out of pain, improve your energy, and increase the quality of your sleep, reduce systematic inflammation, increase mental clarity, which I need really clearly, obviously, improve your nervous systems, lower your anxiety, enhance brain functioning. That's probably no help for me on that one. Improve cardiovascular functioning and elevate your GHK-Cu for a host of additional benefits to increasing your own stem cells, producing growth factors, protecting your lungs, reset genes. Pretty much she's just going to basically do an engine overhaul on you with all the stuff that she can do. Welcome to the show, Darlene. How are you?
Thank you. I'm great, Chris. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
It's wonderful to have you as well. Give us the .coms, please, so people can find you on the interwebs in the sky.
They can go to iamreverseaging.com. iamreverseaging.com, and there they can see the product, which I did not develop, but I am helping to pass the word around because I wish I would have known about this several years ago. But yeah, iamreverseaging.com.
There you go. It's always good to reverse aging. I'm still trying to get back to last year. I'm still trying to get back to pre-COVID, actually. That's where I'm trying to get back.
A lot of people are.
Yeah. So give us a 30,000 overview in your words of what you do.
Sure. So, I'll start with where it began. Back a few years ago, my husband started losing his memory and started having substantial neurological decline. Early Alzheimer's was diagnosed, and the decline was significant, very steep for 2 years. And we really, you go to the doctor and they say, well, there's really nothing we can do, right? There's no good medicine. And even the ones that come out, like the ones that have most recently come out, cause 50% brain bleed in my husband's APOE4.
Oh, wow.
Not a good option, right? Yeah. So research did a lot of research. That's kind of who I am anyway. And we tried every different kind of modality possible, from IV stem cells out of country. We went out of country 4 times in a year because it needed to be done quarterly at $10,000 a pop, and did not see any significant improvement. We did hyperbaric chamber. which I think actually made things worse. We did ozone therapy. We did hydrogen water. We followed the Dr. Bredesen protocol, which includes really revamping the diet entirely, taking out carbs, alcohol, sodas, really having high quality proteins. We have a saying in my family, if it tastes good, spit it out.
Oh my God. Wow.
Because we really cleaned up the act, daily strength training, sleep protocol, other things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing really making a difference. And where we were was at a place where my husband had really become a shell of his former self. He was napping 3.5 hours a day and falling asleep at 7 p.m. at night. He was disengaged from conversations. I think it was just too challenging for him, Chris. It was too hard. And if he did engage, he was like 3 conversations behind. He was asking me the same questions 7 times in 3 minutes, which is, hard. Every time they ask you to pretend like it's the first time you've answered it and that your first time you're hearing it. He was the worst, I think, is that, part of what I fell in love with him for is he's got the funniest sense of humor and the most fun personality. And he wasn't even trying to be funny anymore. So this was really tough. And so we were introduced to this this patch right here, which activates, 2 months ago, I would have told you it activates your stem cells because the FDA comes in and says, hey, your stem cells are a drug and you can't say that they activate your stem cells because even though we have double-blind placebo-controlled studies that show that, what we can say is it activates the copper peptide GHK-Cu. So I had to change my title, which is why you got a mouthful. So this activates GHK-Cu, which then activates stem cells and does a whole host of other things we can talk about in a moment. But what I want to say is we started these patches and it was absolutely dramatic in the first week, not only for him, but for me as well. So for him, in the very first week, he was taking 3.5 hour naps before. He didn't nap at all. He didn't fall asleep at 7 p.m. He was chattier. He was more engaged in conversation. He was with it. He was replying quickly and appropriately. He was not asking me the same question over and over again. And he was funny. He was funny and he was flirty and he was back to his original personality. So in 1 week, I got my husband back, and it's just continued to get, more and more things have come back for him. For example, in the second week, so sleep is huge for people with Alzheimer's or any kind of brain disorder, because that's when the brain flushes and all the toxins are able to get washed out, right? But we were trying everything. I've taken the Dave Asprey sleep course. We were doing red lights at night, and 3 hours before bedtime, we would stop eating and putting our eyes on the morning sun and red light glasses and all of it, right?
Yeah.
All right. And we could not get him above 15 minutes of deep sleep. Well, in the second week, he got 1 hour and 25 minutes of deep sleep. I was so excited. In the 10th week or 2.5 month mark, he regained the ability to whistle, and he regained the ability to drum to the beat. And his blood pressure dropped, by the way. It had been about 172/94. It dropped to 135/87. So a 37-point drop. And then at the 5 month mark, this was amazing. He regained his sense of smell, which he lost 15 years ago.
Wow.
He can finally smell again. And that's, there's also little things like his bald spot, which he's always had, just started closing up. And where he's had gray hair, chestnut brown hair grew in. I didn't even know he'd ever had chestnut brown hair, because in the 20 years I've known him, I've never known him to have chestnut brown hair. So it was really remarkable. So of course, the first thing I'm doing is like telling my friends and family, you all need to be on this. This is, week 1, we are experiencing these amazing results. And not just him, me too. So I had a broken foot, a sprained ankle. I had completely ripped a ligament. I was in a chair. I had to ask him to bring me a glass of ice water. And I'm here to tell you, before the patches, when I would ask him for a glass of ice water, this was hard. He'd look at me like with deer in the headlights and just, so I don't know what you mean. I don't know how to do that. And I would say, okay, let's start with a cup. Well, where do I find that? So we would walk through getting ice water. We'd do this 5 times a day. And this was really hard. So what that meant is I was finally, I had not had to ask for him to do anything for me in the years of decline. And now I'm having to, and I'm realizing how severe the situation is. And so I became depressed. I was very sad and felt like crying every day. Not only was I in pain from my foot, I was sad about his situation. I had previously been diagnosed with things like chronic fatigue syndrome and fibromyalgia and POTS, which is postural orthostatic tachycardia, where I had to take fludrocortisone, which is a medicine to actually increase your blood pressure to keep you from passing out.
Wow.
Regular headaches, rosacea, all of these things that I had. I had skin that was so dry, I had to like lather myself up with Cetaphil every day. Couldn't really lose weight, 58, menopause, all that stuff, postmenopausal. It just wasn't happening for me, no matter what I did. And I was having people tell me, you got to eat more, Darlene. You need to eat more. So I basically go to work and I start patching this first week. And I'm amazed by this ice wave patch we have. We have a patch that removes pain better than, first of all, drugs don't really work for me. Percocet, Vicodin, none of those have ever really worked for me. Ice wave takes pain away on the spot immediately within 15 seconds. From 12 to 0. It is absolutely remarkable.
Really?
It is the best for people who have addictions or have to stay away from drugs, or drugs don't work for them, or you just don't want to put aspirin or Tylenol or any of the hard stuff in your body. This is the most amazing thing. So I couldn't even believe it. Like, I put it on my foot. It felt so good all day long. I thought, wow, this just must be the day that my foot stops hurting. And that night I took the patches off, because you actually wear them 12 hours on and then you take them off for 12 hours and then you put them on. And I'll talk about why in a little bit later. But so I would take off the patch after 12 hours and in 15 minutes, my foot would start throbbing. And I'd be like, oh, wow, that's the pain I've been experiencing for 5 months. So I experienced that pain relief. I stopped having regular headaches. I stopped passing out and blacking out, and I actually was able to play pickleball in Arizona in the summer this summer.
Wow.
Something, because previous years I couldn't do that. I would just get too hot, overheated. For those people that have POTS, that's the most remarkable achievement possible. My rosacea took 3 months, but it did clear. I used to have a red forehead. It used to be all acne. It was just a mess. And it's gone. I had dark brown spots on my skin that went away. Everything is so soft. Like, it's kind of embarrassing. I literally have skin that's so soft. I'll touch it and I'll think that's as soft as a baby's butt, like truly so soft. It's really cool. I lost 10 pounds effortlessly. And I'm no longer stress eating. I'm no longer emotionally eating. I'm not standing in front of the screen and saying, oh, I wish, because there are all of these things that this patch does. And if you'd like, I'll jump into why this does what it does.
Yeah, this is kind of interesting. I'm Googling it here, and evidently it has multiple biological actions. It can stimulate blood vessel, nerve outgrowth, increase collagen, elasticity. Evidently, it's something that's been around since 1973 when it's discovered. It's a small, naturally occurring tripeptide present in human plasma that releases from the tissues in case of an injury. Really interesting, and copper-based or something like that.
Yeah, there's a whole book here called How to Reverse Aging, A Comprehensive Guide to Copper Peptide. And really, GHK-Cu was discovered by Dr. Lauren Picard. And among the benefits, so it's been studied for 50 years and lots of double-blind placebo-controlled studies. And so I can say very clearly, I can link this to medical things like stem cells, increases stem cells. It improves and produces growth factors. It protects lungs and then restores healthy function in COPD affected cells. It's an antioxidant, an anti-inflammatory, and the effect on the brain and nerves, I want to go through a study in a bit, but it alters the expression of human genes. So it's resetting them to their younger, healthier state. And that can be, and in fact, we'll talk about it in a second, the anti-cancer effects, but that's an amazing feat right there. So it induces a strong anti-anxiety and anti-aggression, anti-pain, helps with cognitive functions. You talked about some of the memory and clarity and concentration, focus, energy, those kinds of things. Because of that growth of new blood vessels, the heart effects are phenomenal. There's a heart study I'll talk about in a bit, but it reduces fibrinogen synthesis, which is the top predictor of cardiovascular heart disease. It increases myostatin, which inhibits heart failure. It has amazing anti-cancer benefits. top 1309 bioactive compounds reset the programmed cell death of human cancer cells, and that's at human neuroblastoma, leukemia, and breast cancer cells, but it did not affect the healthy cells. It inhibited NFKB-P65, which is believed to promote cancer. It repaired DNA damage, and it reset 84 genes to growth or cancer inhibition. So it has all sorts of wonderful benefits for skin and hair, increasing collagen synthesis. So a lot of people love that, it makes you look younger. So there are GHK creams, a lot of face creams and things that have GHK-Cu for that collagen emphasis and tightening that loose skin, repairing photo damage, and increasing hair growth. So I talked about my husband's hair. You actually can see I have all these little sprouts. They're unruly. They're like little broccoli forest. I've got all this new hair growth on my own head, and it's not quite long enough to lie down. So it just sort of stands up right now. And then there's accelerated wound healing and increased healing in the skin and the stomach and the intestine and the lining in the bone. So immune system to cardiovascular to improving the role of your performance, your athletic performance. So copper peptides are amazing, and you can Google them in PubMed. You can look at the benefits of GHK and see how this works. So now I'm going to shift and switch to talking about this patch, which we know elevates and activates that copper peptide. How does it work? Well, most people know, when you go out in the sun, the light causes your body to make vitamin D.
Yeah.
And you know that it also makes your body make melanin, so you get a suntan. And you also know, especially because you've interviewed all these military people, that if I looked at you with night vision goggles, you have light within you. Like that's how we see people in houses.
Yeah.
You have light within you. So what's happening is you put this little non-transdermal patch. Non-transdermal means there is nothing going in your skin. There is no ointment, medicine, nothing. You put it on your skin anywhere. They say behind the back of the neck, below the belly button, but it really can be anywhere. And when it's applied or near the body, and when I say near the body, that means it could be in your pocket. It doesn't actually have to be on your skin. It could be on the outside of my shirt. It could be on the inside of my shirt. It doesn't have to even be touching my skin because light goes right through all that stuff. It activates and stimulates beneficial biochemical responses. It reflects my own light back into me at a very specific wavelength. Nothing is entering the body. In fact, it's so trustworthy that over 300 Olympic athletes were wearing LifeWave patches in the 2008 Olympics.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And Serena Williams and David Beckham and Michael Phelps. And lately, I recently heard a podcast from Ivory Sully, a big NFL player, who said, guess what? Tom Brady's wearing these patches. And we all know how seriously Tom Brady takes his health, right?
Oh, yeah.
So the things that people typically report after, with just this one, there is a suite of different patches, but we're talking specifically about the X39 patch, which is the big patch, the one. Like if you're just going to do one, you would do this one. It is known to, within 3 to 6 weeks, you can start to see cellular repair and you feel rapid pain relief, reduced inflammation, the wound healing, the energy and vitality, the mental clarity, the improved sleep, enhanced sports performance, faster recovery. I love the faster recovery because with my fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue syndrome, one of my issues has always been I can't work out too hard. If I do, I literally can't walk for days. I'm just so sore. And I'm not experiencing that anymore. I don't have that same level of soreness. So really, really amazing. They did a study on this one patch in 2019, SciTech study by Chevalier. And they did, I want you to imagine EEGs. There's 3 sessions. So before they started the patch, they did an EEG on all these people in their brains. And what they saw were a lot of the brains had hypercoherence. And what that looks like, if you were to think of a circle filled with red, that is not good. That's an LA traffic jam. That is not good communication between the left and right hemisphere.
Yeah.
That is anger, PTSD, that's frustration, that's inflammation, all bad things, right? Then, and 3 weeks later, they did another EEG after 3 weeks of wearing X39, and already you start to see the colors change. You see the blues and the greens and the yellows coming in, and you're starting to see improvement and reduction in inflammation and improvement of all of these symptoms. And then in 6 weeks point, they did another test and the EEG shows the brain really changed now. It's got lots of the beautiful colors in it. And what the study found, this is a double-blind placebo-controlled study, is that yes, it increased GHK-Cu, check. It also supported cell and nerve regeneration. This is really important for my husband, right? Also, this is huge. Balanced the brain, improved coherence, improved the nervous system, lowered anxiety, decreased brain inflammation, improved memory, focus, and cognitive brain function. And in fact, they noticed that the more complex the task, the more improvement they got from that. So I got to see this in my husband, in his improvements, but I also got to feel this because I told you how I was depressed and I mean, I really wanted to cry every day. It was not just the pain of my ankle, it was just the depression of my husband's diagnosis finally hitting me and me absorbing it. Anybody would. But what happened is that depression just lifted. And we have testimonials all over the place of PTSD symptoms lifting, of people no longer experiencing depression. I have a very, very dear relative who, after a month on it, called me and on a Zoom call said, "You have no idea. I was asking God to take me home. I was literally at the end of my rope and I was in dark clouds for years. And I am feeling light and airy and happy again for the first time in so long." And I experienced that. So I understood what she was talking about because I was actually seeing a therapist and I said, I'm really kind of doing okay. I don't think I need to see you anymore. And she's like, yeah, I don't really think you do either. It was really great. So these effects on the brain, it's not just the study. It's not just my husband. It's a lot of people. In fact, there's a dear friend of mine. I love this. She has a child that has a rare genetic disorder. In fact, she's the one who introduced me to the patches, actually. Her name is Dina, and her daughter is Jalen. And Jalen is 16, but has been functioning at a kindergarten level. Like she's like a kindergartner, really. So it's like autism, but it's a rare genetic disorder. And in 5 weeks, she saw this, first 15 days. In 15 days, she saw this tremendous difference. She saw her daughter calm down. She no longer needed ADHD medicines. She was responding differently. And she said and the tutor said, I've never seen her like this. She normally, the best she'd ever scored in a math test was 51 and she scored 100 today. So really improved. So he said, I'm going to test her again. Well, they tested her at the 5 week after she'd been on just X39 for 5 weeks. And what they found is her academic scores went from kindergarten to upper 3rd grade, lower 4th grade in 5 weeks.
Wow.
And tested her now 9 months later. And Chris, they found that her executive functioning is now like that of a 16-year-old.
Wow.
Unbelievable. And he didn't even know what to say. He's like, I don't understand. Executive functioning doesn't change over time. Like this is not something that improves. So I don't get it. So the brain stuff it does is, I just wish, especially for my military veterans who are depressed, who are suicidal, who have watched too many horrific things and can't get that out of their mind. I wish and actually our owner has donated to military a lot of patches. They donated to the folks in Maui as well. So there's a lot of humanitarian mission going on for the company. So I'm going to switch to the heart. And that is a study that was done by the Center for Biofield Sciences. And I love this because in a 6-week study, participants saw improvements in their vascular system and not just their cardiovascular system. In 6 weeks, their cardiovascular system started functioning as if it were 8 weeks younger.
Oh, wow.
And in fact, the doctor that authored this book book called How to Reverse Aging, A Comprehensive Guide to Copper Peptides, he had a right branch bundle blockage that, there's no cure for that. There's no surgery for that. There's nothing a cardiologist can do. But after wearing the patch, the X39 and an anti-inflammation patch for about 12 to 14 months or so, his right branch bundle blockage disappeared.
Oh, wow.
Just went away. Completely went away. Absolutely astonishing. So you see remodeling of scar tissue from, big wounds that were from like open heart surgery. And that's not just remodeling on the outside, but it's also remodeling all that scar tissue on the inside. So for those people who have maybe 2 shoulder surgeries like me, or a knee surgery like me, or feet surgeries like me, or an ankle surgery like that, there's scar tissue in there, and that scar tissue creates problems. So I love the fact that this patch is helping to heal old scars and wounds as well as new.
Yeah. This is very interesting to me. I'm learning all about this now. You've opened my mind to this thing, and it makes sense. It's composed of amino acids of glycine, histidine, and lysine. And I know that that's in my workout protein powders and stuff. It's part of the amino acids.
This is a different one, though, because this is hermetically sealed in that patch. Those are the ingredients to make that lattice structure. You're right. I know you do a lot of supplements, and I also was thinking about your sister, who I think has MS, right?
MS, yeah. This would be interesting to see if it would help her.
I actually have a dear friend who has Parkinson's, and within 3 weeks of being on X39 and Eon, an anti-inflammation patch, and the GHK-Cu elevation patch, those two patches, she has been tremoring since she was 5 years old. Her tremors darn near went away. I mean, it was
holy crap.
Yeah. The company was founded in 2004. Initially, the first patches were energy enhancers, and they were developed for Navy SEALs, which is near and dear to my heart as a Navy retired commander, because they didn't want them taking amphetamines and drugs to stay awake several days at a time. And that energy enhancer, I love it. If anybody is thinking they need caffeine or coffee or Red Bulls, if you're living on those things, that is not a healthy way to get your energy. This patch not only improves your mitochondrial function, but it actually burns an extra 300 to 600 calories a day, which is great.
I actually need that.
Sort of have the sustained, like Energizer Bunny kind of energy. You don't have the afternoon dip. In fact, one day it was like 2:00, and I'd been wearing the patches 6 months. And one day I was like, dang it, what's going on? My energy enhancers aren't working today. And I looked at my feet. I actually wear mine on the bottom of my feet. And I had never put them on. I had run out of the package the day before and hadn't grabbed a new package. And so I had not put them on. So I popped those babies on, and then off I was into the races.
Wow.
Yeah. There are over 90 clinical studies proving the efficacy of the LifeWave patches. And the inventor we have is the most brilliant visionary scientist. He's got over 150 patents, and he's been on the leading edge of phototherapy for over 20 years. But he has actually been awarded the Advanced Technology Award from the International Hall of Fame twice. You had a Dr. Nayan Patel, I think, if that was his name. He did the book called The Glutathione Revolution. And learning all about glutathione. So I was actually taking glutathione before I learned about these patches 7 months ago. And I was getting it via IV or orally because glutathione is the body's master antioxidants, which you now know, and it's your immune booster, but it's also your primary detoxification, right? Glutathione is amazing. The people that live the longest in the world have the highest levels of glutathione. So if you go look at 100-year-olds, or you look in the blue zones, you're going to find that they have very high levels of glutathione. So we want high levels of glutathione. Well, the patch that we have for glutathione, right here, it elevates glutathione 300%. And keeps it there for 24 hours, where my IV was just elevating it 27% for 7 whopping minutes. So, and I was paying a lot for that IV. Just like I paid a lot for those IV stem cells in Mexico. The patch that I'm talking about, this little X39 patch, it's $99 for a month's supply. I mean, that is ridiculously inexpensive. I could have you want to see a happy dance? I was expecting it to be outrageous. So I was so excited about that, just so excited. We have all sorts of patches, but most people really need to be, I think, on and start out on 2, and that's the X39 and the Eon patch. And there's a reason for that. So inflammation eats stem cells. So if we are elevating your GHK-Cu and then activating your stem cells as a result of that GHK-Cu, but it's all getting eaten up by the inflammation in your body. And we know inflammation is the root of so much evil and disease anyway, right? It is bad. So if we can reduce that inflammation, more of the GHK-Cu will create more of those stem cells that will live and do good things in your body. And most people don't know, when you're 30, you have half of your stem cells dormant. When you're 60, almost all of them are. And I'm 58. So all of my stem cells are dormant. And I know you're in your 50s, right? So
55, yeah.
Almost all of yours are, you're getting there.
I can feel it too.
Yeah, this is why we're not healing so fast. Like little kids, they just kind of get banged up and bruised and then they just heal, right? We don't do that so quickly. And that's why. So when you do X39 and Eon, you've got what we call the dynamic duo. And that's just an amazing. And oh, by the way, this X39, it also elevates your glutathione levels by 30% every day. So that's why we would wait and not even do glutathione for like a month or so. Later, after you've let your body do some initial detox work with the X39 alone, and it's outstanding.
And it comes in little patches like the ones you are holding up.
Yes.
You put them on you, and you just wear them throughout the day.
12 hours on, 12 hours off. And what we aren't allowed to talk about, so I can't say, but I can tell you I've heard that people sometimes take them off of their own body and then put them on any other living creature in the house, like a dog or a cat or a tortoise or a fishbowl. Everything that's living benefits from having their body cells regenerate and rejuvenate and repair.
Wow.
So there are pictures on my website that you can actually see. They're just dramatic. The from animals. There's actually an entire IceWave line called AccuLife that's sold and marketed for pets to get them out of pain. Used by a lot of horse veterinarians.
Yeah, I see that on your website. I'm looking at that right now, actually.
Yeah, there's a very good video at the very bottom that shows the effect on horses, and it's the first time you see that you kind of go like, what's the trick? Like it's so hard to believe because it looks like it's a magic trick. And I would have thought that myself, except that I did it on my ankle, and I know that it actually worked on me. So I know that, and I've now patched 75 people with IceWave, where they've had very severe pain, and I can patch them through their clothing, like literally put it on over their shirt and just hold it there, and within 15 seconds, boom, it's gone. I actually, my cleaning woman came over today, and I said, "How are you doing?" And she's like, "I've got a migraine." And I said, "Oh, well, let's fix you right up." Patched her with IceWave. And I said, "How are you doing now?" And she's like, "It's gone." So, I mean, there was a woman, bless her heart. So I love these stories, but this woman had what's called Sluder's neuralgia. She had a sinus surgery that had gone wrong. And so it ended up, she had to have brain surgery. She had 2,400 days of migraines. Can you even fathom? I think I would not want to be in this world.
Sounds like my first 7 marriages.
Sort of like my first 2. Right with you. Yeah. IceWave and X39 knocked out the migraine in 5 minutes.
Wow. Yeah. That's pretty powerful, eh?
Yeah.
I'll just put it on my forehead and wear it like one of those Indian people with the dot on your forehead all the time. Yes.
Well, actually, it's funny because I am now putting the energy enhancers behind my husband's ears to try to get that energy flow right across the brain. And we put his X39. And there are I know one of the things that you do is you very much care about your muscles and just getting a good, protecting them and building them, right?
Yeah.
So we have another patch that elevates the daughter peptide to GHK-Cu. And there are studies that have proven improved performance and energy and strength and stamina. And because we can't tell our body's stem cells where to go. I wish we could. I wish we could say, hey, you need to go to my knee or my shoulder or my husband's brain, right? We can't do that. But AHK-Cu, one of the things it's known to do is to hang out in the heart and in the brain and in the muscles. So what happens when you elevate AHK-Cu peptide is that you improve the cardiovascular system, the cognitive functions, and you have faster recovery after exercise. But what I really love is it promotes lean muscle mass, and it promotes fat loss, and it increases bone density. Now, that is a really big deal to me, and it's a really big deal for me as a woman, that bone density and that muscle mass. And it was something I was really struggling with. It is also, lo and behold, they've found that X49 acts as a Faraday cage to reduce cell phone radiation. So you got to love that too.
Wow, this is pretty interesting. I'm Googling this as we're talking through it. A peptide with a copper ion linked to it. Same thing with the other. And it's found in the blood of most mammals and important in regulating growth, development, and the death of vascular endothelial cells.
Yeah.
All right, there we go. Yeah, this is really interesting. I mean, when I had the glutathione gentleman on the show, I never heard of glutathione. I was like, I don't know. Okay, whatever. But yeah, evidently it's really good for you. And so yeah, there's all these little tricks and tips. I'm just really this is pretty amazing.
Yeah, in fact, glutathione, one of the things glutathione is known to do, and I think Dr. Patel talked about it, was protecting the DNA from damage. And in fact, initiating repair to damaged cells. It also protects and rejuvenates stem cells. It is known to increase your length of life, but it also helps to increase collagen and regenerate cartilage. So you have a lot of people who will put a glutathione and an anti-inflammation eon patch on their knee and wear that over time. And what they'll find is that even a bone-on-bone knee that was like scheduled and slated to have knee surgery, all of a sudden they'll go do an x-ray and they'll find, lo and behold, cartilage and ligaments, and they don't have to have knee surgery. So, I mean, I have to be really careful, and I have to sort of throw my claim out that, you know, our products are not intended to cure, treat, or diagnose or prevent any disease, even if they do. But you know, people need to consult their doctor. But glutathione is amazing. It even not only does it improve organ function, but it protects the myelin sheath. It also, the other thing, Chris, this is really important because after the pandemic, we find that a lot of people are having vaccination injury. And so they have spiked proteins. Everyone that has had a vaccination has spiked proteins, 100%. And even people who have been in the room around people that have had vaccination, from the shedding of the vaccination, they actually can have spiked proteins. And if you got COVID, you can have you have spike proteins. Well, those spike proteins, they look like little horns and a tail on a cell. It's not a good functional cell. And what happens is that the oxygen the cell doesn't oxygenate properly. And that's why we're seeing problems with respiratory systems and lungs and long-term like issues, right?
Yeah, COVID.
Anybody that's had that COVID vaccination ultimately needs the X39, the Aeon, and the glutathione so that you can get rid of those spike proteins. And my girlfriend Dina that had the daughter Jalen that has had this tremendous improvement, she did a live blood cell study and had 6 slides of blood that showed spike proteins on all of them, lots of them. And after, and they wanted to give her these medicines to get rid of these spike proteins. And she said, I'm just going to do these patches. So she did the patches, and in 6 weeks' time, went back. All of the spike proteins were gone except one. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Wow. I know people who have long COVID are suffering. My sister has had it 4 times. She has long COVID and on top of MS and on top of dementia. And so, yeah, it's a real ugly thing. If people tell me COVID doesn't exist, they almost get beaten to death if they get near me. And I've had friends pass away from it too. But yeah, the damage that it does, because it really amplifies the reaction of your body, which ends up destroying organs and over inflammation, as you talked about earlier, because the body didn't, when COVID first came out, the body wasn't prepared for this assault and didn't have a blueprint to work with. But yeah, all of these things are pretty amazing, and it's great to learn about them.
It is there are a lot of studies of people that have memory issues, dementias, and other things. In fact, there's I said studies, but what I meant was stories. I've watched all of them because obviously it's near and dear to my heart. But there are people who talk about having had, an MRI done after, I think it was like 6 months on the patches, and the MRI showed the Alzheimer's is gone. Like it was just gone. Now, I don't know anything that does that. And I don't know. I don't think that I'm here to tell you my husband is a long way from back to normal. So things have improved, but we're still in a place where he's got a long way to go. But I have a lot of hope. And I do think that people can have hope and know that our bodies do know what to do and how to heal if we help them out. And this is what this does. It just helps your own body go to work healing itself with the things that made us to begin with. A lot of people may not know our stem cells are what made our whole body, and they can become muscle, bone, tissue, brain, heart, they can become anything they need to be to heal us from the inside out.
Yeah. I mean, if this works out with the stem cell thing, I'll have to give up eating babies. I'm just kidding, people. Don't write me. That's a joke. We do comedy. You're laughing at people eating babies.
I can laugh. I can laugh.
There you go. But I know George Bush, he he banned stem cells there for a while and really set back things. But yeah, there's a thing to it. And the copper ion and stuff, is really interesting. Yeah. So you've awakened us to a whole bunch of this stuff. What have we touched on or talked about before we go out?
Well, I guess I would say this. There's an anesthesiologist that has said, 40 years of medicine doctor, who has said, this is the most significant medical breakthrough in my lifetime. And I would say that the number one thing I hear from people is, it sounds too good to be true. And I really do understand that. I really do. It sounded too good to be true for me, except I was talking to a friend who was saying, this is my experience. And I know that your viewers don't know me, but as a retired Navy commander and a person who actually has a day job, I'm a director of client services for a network and security technology company. That is what I do by day. I oversee a project management team, a PMO office, and I am also a care provider, taking care of my husband. So if I'm stopping everything I'm doing and spending time talking about this, it is because I am so incredibly passionate about it. And I would say, I didn't know about this 2 years ago. I wish to God I would have known about this 2 years ago. I wonder, I know we wouldn't be where we are today. We would be a much better place. And there are people out there who, if they just started today and got on the path, whether you believe it or not, it really doesn't even matter, because it's going to work for you. It's just a matter of how long will you until you notice it. And 80% of people notice it within 3 to 6 weeks. They say a month for every decade you are old. So you would give it a shot of 5.5 months or 6 months, right? And then you will most likely experience very significant improvements in that time. And then the longer you wear it, the more things you're checking off your list. I'm
going to in fact, the National Institutes of Health, which is the .gov, back up all this stuff we've been talking about and everything. So I mean, this is like the government level is like, this is a real thing, and it's not voodoo magic sort of stuff. Like that time that someone said I should just sit naked on a Ouija board and Hail Mary 10 times, and then
That's right.
I'm out of stuff I can make up at this point.
GHK-Cu is one of those that has been very, very well studied and very well published. Lots of documentation, and a lot of doctors understand. In fact, there was a doctor that said she was giving people injections 4 times a day, but it wasn't elevating GHK-Cu to the level of this patch.
Wow.
That's an expensive and painful route. You're welcome to do that if you'd like. I'm just going to wear this patch.
I'm not into needles. I'm against needles.
It sticks through this. Like, I literally will put it on in the morning. I'll go work out. I'll take a shower. It sticks, right? Swimmers, 6 out of 7 Stanford swimmers, when they started wearing these, wearing the energy enhancer, by the way, broke their personal best records, their world. That's why the Olympians, the whole swim team, the gold medal sweeping swim team, were wearing the patches. And there was a big investigation because they wanted to know, what were you putting in your body? And then they found there was nothing in the body. It was all good.
I'm going to put it in my coffee. I'm not sure that's...
You're not even going to need coffee anymore. You're going to have so much energy. You're going to drink coffee just for the...
I don't know about that. I kind of live for coffee. I used to live for vodka. Now I live for coffee.
Well, probably a better choice.
Yeah. I just stumbled into the espresso life, and so now I'm into espresso coffee and blah blah blah, buying all this stupid stuff.
I saw that actually on your Facebook page. You were repping a beautiful espresso.
Yeah, it's a new. Well, that's a grinder I think that I posted today, and then we've got to try and. I didn't realize it was such a cult. I was like, oh yeah, just you get like I don't know, coffee machine, you get like I don't know, some grinder or something. And, and then it turns out it's like there's 5 trillion accessories. And, every time I go, well, is this a good espresso maker? People are like, oh my God, what are you? Like, are you a trailer park in the, I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm just like, It was like the last time I went into a bunch of vegan groups saying when I went vegan and lost a lot of weight in 2016. And I went in, I was like, yeah, I'm vegan now. And then like 500 variations of veganism attacked me. And I had no idea that there were so many shades of green, I guess you would call it. And I was like, wow, I almost regret doing this. Maybe I'll go back to meat just to spite you fucking people. But yeah.
Do you know a lot of coffee has mold in it?
I drink it for the mold. The mold they say is what makes it so good.
That is so not true. You do not want that mold in your body. That is something I'm actually still trying to get out of my head.
There's probably plenty of mold in my body. My body's pretty moldy. That's what I hear from my dates on Tinder. They're like, we like you, Chris, but you're a little moldy. Yeah, you kind of have that smell of moldy smell, which explains, never mind. I don't know. That's enough of that. So, final thoughts and pitch out as we go out on the show.
Sure. Well, I would just say this, take charge of your own health. You actually can improve your health. And even if you are feeling good, do preventative actions and actually a lot of people who are feeling good, they start the patches and they say, I had no idea I could feel this good. You get improved energy and you get improved sleep, deep sleep, and you are starting to reverse your age. Not only do you look better and feel better, but I just think it's easier to do all the right things for yourself and to just be kinder in the world to others. When you get all that inflammation out of your brain and you're not so angry and you don't have the PTSD and you don't have the depression, it makes the world a better place. So this is my way of saving society and humanity for you, Chris.
There you go. Well, that's what we love, and that's what we do in the show. We're trying to save humanity one guest at a time.
Right.
I think we should make that part of our coffee cup lineup or something. Trying to save humanity one guest at a time. Or
right. I'm happy to work with any of your guests. Like, they can reach out to me on my website and I will say, they can say, okay, I've got this or I've got that. I've got these different kinds of things. What do you recommend? Happy to do a free consultation with them and help them figure out what the best patches are. Always X39 and Eon first, but then Ice Wave if you've got pain, and eventually glutathione.
Wow, that's awesome. So give us the .com as we go out so people can find it on the interwebs.
I am reverseaging.com. I am reverseaging.com.
There you go. Thanks for coming on the show. We certainly appreciate it, Darlene. It's been wonderful. And, man, I've learned so much stuff. This is the whole reason I do the show. Like, sometimes I do a show like this, and I get done. I'm like, I don't give a shit if anyone ever watches that thing. I learned so much. I'm like Einstein at this point. So, it's like awesome. Thanks so much for tuning in. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss. Subscribe to the big 130,000 groups on LinkedIn. The LinkedIn newsletter, that's so important to join. I don't know what the hell. LinkedIn must really like us because it goes up like all the time. And I'm just like, why do people like this? I didn't even know there's that many people on LinkedIn that were active either. Go to Chris Voss 1 on the Tickety Talkety. Thanks for tuning in. Be good to each other. Stay safe, and we'll see you guys next time.